Well, now you're in for a real treat. Thanks for being here at the Epic Live keynote address. When we thought of who should do the keynote, they get a little extra time to talk, and they get to talk to everybody. And so we really honed in on Josh Willard from Josh's Frogs. We love everything about his story. Okay, everything about where he came from to where he's been. He's a visionary who thinks long and hard about how to grow this hobby, And thank you for joining us, Josh.
Thank you, Craig, for that warm introduction. I appreciate that. And appreciate getting to wrap things up. I know it's been a long night. I've been back and forth between a bunch of the different sessions. I wrote tons of notes. I have tons of ideas now coming out of this. I'm set for the next 5 years. I've got a plan to take us to the next level just off of some of the cool stuff that people were sharing. Just an all-star cast. It was really cool, and I'm super excited that you guys made these videos available to us after this conference. Like that's just
Yeah.
unbelievable. And you just can't beat the price. I mean, the price of admission was totally worth the value that this provided to be. So I'm going to try to wrap us up really quickly, but like I just learned a ton, and thank you to you and all the staff for all you guys did. This is really cool.
Oh, it's our pleasure, our honor to have you on here. Josh has got a PowerPoint he's going to present, and so just take it away.
Awesome, thank you. Um, just to give you a heads up, I'm going to give you guys a list of 12 things to take away from this meeting. But what I'm really trying to get across to you guys is that we learned a bunch of cool stuff today. We got a bunch of ideas. We maybe looked at our business in a different way after some of the ways in which some of these speakers were talking. What I don't want you to do is to leave here, go back to your business and say, hey, we can beat the rest of the people in our industry. Hey, we could be the best in our industry, and we can punish everybody else who didn't get this opportunity, who isn't thinking the way that we were doing. My goal tonight, when I talk about this, is to have us look at our hobby differently, to not be competitive with one another, but to figure out how do we, as a group, as an industry, come together and grow our hobby. This right here, I just want to give you a picture into our history. This was the first Josh's Frogs website. It's bad. I built this on my couch in my living room of our apartment. I just wanted to sell off some extra fruit fly media stuff that I had. My idea was that I could keep frogs and breed fruit flies, but I just need to sell off some extra stuff in order to be able to make my hobby make sense. And so I did that for years. It was just a side business. It was just something I was running out of my apartment and then soon out of my house. I was just making extra fruit fly cultures, selling those to other people online. And that's how I was able to keep the frogs that I wanted to keep. Fast forward, this is a picture of us in 2022. From my couch, one person, this is our staff of about 100 people. This is a celebration that we did at a local park where we had just been listed for the fifth time in a year as one of the fastest growing companies in all of America. So we made the Inc. 5000 list of the 5,000 fastest growing companies, and we had did it 5 years in a row. And so this is our celebration. This for me, this picture, like when I see the website of 2004, and then I see this picture where we're celebrating some pretty crazy accomplishments. I want this for every one of you guys. I want you, maybe it's not 100 people, maybe that's not what you're trying to build. Maybe you're trying to turn what you're doing right now into something that you can quit your job, and that's where you want to get. You want to be a one person show. Maybe it's, hey, I want to own this area. I want to own these couple of species, and I want to make them as popular and help people be successful with those animals. Whatever is your crazy dream for what you want your business to turn into, I want that for you. And I want you to want it in a way that says, like, hey, if we can grow our hobby, if we can all come together and make our hobby larger, I can realize my dream. You can realize your dream. The other people at the Reptile Expo can realize their dream, that we can all come together and grow our hobby and make it into something that is much larger than what it is today. So I'm going to do some numbers and I'm going to try to put it into some word pictures for you guys to kind of wrap our minds around how big our hobby actually is. So, with the exception of COVID and the pandemic, the reptile hobby in the recent short term history has been about 3% of US households have exotic pets. 3%. So you might think of that in terms of like, hey, if you went on the street and interviewed 100 people, you'd only find 3 people that had a leopard gecko or a ball python or a tarantula or some frogs in their house. 3 out of 100 households. Another way to think about that is if you went to a school and you went into a classroom with about 33 kids in it, and you said, hey, raise your hand if you have a reptile, a snake, a tarantula, or a frog at home. Only 1 kid would raise their hand. That's how small our hobby is currently. During the pandemic, our hobby grew. Some people in our industry think it grew to about 5% of households. So you remember how crazy it felt during the pandemic for those of us who were in the industry during that time. It felt bonkers, and we grew 2%. We went from 3% of households to about 5% of households. So again, to put that in a picture for you, 5% is you're on the street interviewing 100 people. 5 of those people would say, yeah, we have a leopard gecko at home. We have some kind of snake at home. We have some kind of tarantula. We have some kind of frog at home. 5 out of 100. Go back to the classroom. If you went to 3 different classrooms, each with 33 kids in it, what you'd find is in 2 of the classrooms, 3 kids would raise their hand and say, yeah, we have an exotic pet at home. And the last class you'd go to, 4 kids out of the whole 33 kids in that classroom would raise their hand and say, hey, we have an exotic animal in our house. That's kind of crazy to think about, like how small our industry is and how big our industry can get. So I'm going to show you an email that I got, and I won't tell you who sent us this email, but this happened in 2021. A big chain who will remain nameless. It might be on the screen, but I won't say their name. They contacted us because they ran out of animals, and they were kept running out of animals. And so what they said is, hey, we need a bunch of animals. Can you guys take over the animals for 2 of our states? And here's the numbers that we need every year. So for the 2 states, Illinois and Michigan, we need about 23,000 animals for just this one business's stores in those 2 states. So what happened is when our hobby moved from 3% to 5%, they needed 23,000 animals for 2 states. It got that crazy. If you take this and you say, hey, we went from 3% of households to 5% of households, like what would it look like to be at 10% of households, where like 1 out of 10 people that you would meet on the street would say, hey, yeah, we have a leopard gecko, we have a spider in our house, oh, we have a frog in our house, or we have a snake in our house. If you were to go to 10%, and I take the numbers from this store, you're talking about doubling the amount of animals that this one chain would need in 2 states. If you extrapolate that out to the United States and say, hey, if this doubled, we went from 5% to 10%, and these numbers were representative of other states. So we got 2 of the states here. We're going to extrapolate that out to 50 states. We're talking about 600,000 animals that would need to be produced in our hobby just for this one chain of stores across America. Like if we can take our hobby, grow it from 3% to 10%, in other words, triple it from where it's at now, go past where we were during COVID, like we're talking about more animals, more supplies, more people listening to podcasts, more people watching YouTube channels. We're talking about a monumental, extravagant growth in our hobby. And all we're doing is getting our hobby to the point where 1 out of 10 households have one exotic pet in them. It sounds like an outlandish goal. Like it sounds like, oh my gosh, like we could never produce that many animals as a hobby. We could never be that popular. But like 1 out of 10 doesn't seem that out of the ordinary. If we focus on not competing with each other, not giving our industry a bad name, but focus on how do we build our hobby? How do we make it into something bigger than what it is today? I'm going to give you 12 different things that I'm asking you guys to do. I would love for you to write those down, but just figure out what are the few things that you can do. Don't try to do all 12 of these. So first one, find win-win solutions. When I say that, half of you guys need to realize that you're the problem. What's happening is you're shortchanging yourself. When you get into relationships with your customers or with other people in our industry, you're not speaking up for yourself. You're not communicating like, hey, this is what would be good for me. This is what I need. You're letting other people take advantage of you. The other half of us are in the other boat where we're taking advantage of somebody else. We're thinking of our business or our hobby, or what we're doing as an opportunity. How do we make it so we win, somebody else loses? We don't want that. That doesn't help us build our hobby. We want to be able to find win-win solutions. I'll give you an example. We had a vendor that we purchased some products from, and instead of selling us one case of the product, they sent us the number of cases of the product, of how many products were in the case. So it was one case of 144 products. They were these little food baggies. And they messed up in their system, and so they sent us 144 cases of their product, and it arrived at our location, at our warehouse, and we looked at that and we're like, oh my gosh, there's a big problem here. And so we talked about what to do, and we said, hey, one of our core values is that we have integrity, so we need to reach out to them and tell them they shipped 144 cases instead of 144 products. So we reached out to them. Of course, they were shocked that we reached out to them, that we displayed integrity. And I said, hey, you know what? I want to create a win-win solution in this. Like, it doesn't make sense for you to take this all back. How can we figure out a way for us to both win in this situation? So what they said is, they said, hey, you have a bunch of product. Why don't you run a giant sale on it? So like, it's going to cost us a bunch of money to get this sent back to us. So run a big sale on this product, and whatever you don't sell, like, we'll just credit you for whatever you don't sell. And so we found a win-win solution where we sold this product at one of the lowest prices of anybody online for quite a while as we sold through those 144 cases. And so we found a win-win solution. Whenever we can find a win-win solution, it helps build our hobby and grow it into something bigger. Second thing, this is a really weird one. I almost left it out, but I really felt like it was really important to communicate. The second thing is to create a great place to work. And that might feel like, why would creating a great place to work, how would that help us grow our hobby? What happens is that the people that you work with model the relationship of the place that they work when they talk about and when they experience relationships outside of the business. And you want to model inside your place of work, you want to model the types of behaviors and the types of mindsets with the people that you work with, that give them a framework for determining how they're going to work with people outside of their industry. What that means is that you have to be clear on what winning looks like. So our employees get a quarterly conversation. What that means is every 3 months, we sit down with them. We talk about what's working, what's not working. We talk about the goals for the next quarter. We talk about opportunities to try new things and do new things. And we are really clear on what winning looks like. And so we're really clear on that. Second thing we do is we develop our people. So we find new things for them to do and to try out and to get their hands wet. So on our leadership team, the group of people that lead our entire business, almost all of them started out at the very ground floor of our business. So we have our HR director started out as a roach keeper. A couple of the people on our leadership team started out in shipping. One person started out mixing fruit fly media as a 16-year-old. Another one started as a 16-year-old making fruit fly cultures. And those people have taken on new responsibility quarter by quarter, year after year. And now they're salaried positions at our business, doing really cool things that they have learned over, some of them over a decade and a half of working with us. And so we've said, hey, we're going to invest in relationships. We're going to invest in partnerships inside of our business. The third thing that we do as part of creating a great place to work that I think translates to other places is we practice transparency at our place. So we do what's called open books. So every 3 weeks, everyone at our staff meeting, which is every single employee, gets to see exactly how much revenue we brought in and what our expenses were and how much profit we had for those 3 weeks. We share that with everybody. Everybody gets to see that. We get to clearly paint what winning looks like. And we're all on the same page of like, hey, sometimes it doesn't look good. Sometimes it looks great. And we're clear on that because we want a win-win relationship with our employees. All right. Third thing, start doing outreaches. So for those of you who don't know what an outreach is, that's where you take some of your animals, some of your pets, you contact a school or a church or a Boy Scout group or Girl Scout group, and you say, hey, I'd like to bring my animals in, share my animals with the people at your organization, and teach them a little bit about these animals. The reason this is so important for our hobby is it allows us to expose people to the animals that we keep. And that's very important for them when they get older and they start wondering, like, hey, what kind of pet that I want? But also, like, we live in an environment where there's all kinds of legislation, all kinds of opportunities for us to lose our right to keep these animals. And the more we can expose people to these animals, it allows them to put a name to a face. So when the local city council is like, hey, let's ban snakes in our town, they think, oh wait, snakes like what Bob used to bring into our school and tell us about, like, I don't want that banned. That's not what I really want. So it's an opportunity to do that. So I know some of you guys are doing outreaches as part of your business. That's a big part of your business. And so you're charging these organizations to come in. That's totally cool. If that is not your business, if doing outreaches is not your business, I want to encourage you and challenge you to do them for free. So figure out a way to give an hour of your time, go in and expose some people to some of the cool animals that we work with. All right, 4, put yourself in the shoes of someone new. We need to grow our hobby by putting ourselves in the mindset and the shoes of new people. So what I would really encourage you guys to do is go find a trade show for something you know nothing about. Go, maybe it's rocks and gems. Go there, hang out, feel like what it feels like to not know anything about what's on the table, not to be prepared to be at the show. Feel what that feels like. Feel what that feels like. Second thing, putting yourself in the shoes of someone new, is we got to do a better job on care sheets. At every show, make sure you have something physical that you can hand the new customers. I know we really believe and preach that people need to be prepared for taking animals home. We want them to do their research before the show. We want them to be prepared when we're selling them online. We want people to spend too much researching and getting everything ready. The truth is they're not doing that. They're not doing that. And we've got to put ourselves in the shoes of somebody who's brand new, who's getting an animal, doesn't really know how to take care of it. We've got to provide care sheets on our websites, at the shows. We've got to be educating people constantly and not expecting them to know everything right from the get-go. Third part of that is we've got to stop using big words. I hate this about our hobby. We try to make ourselves look better and sound better, and we're confusing new people. So one of the big things that we get at the shows is, so I need to keep these frogs in a terrarium. What is a terrarium? And so I'll say, hey, it's just a glass tank. You got to keep them in a glass tank. That's what you got to keep them in. Another pet peeve of mine is our use of the word rack. Like, yes, that makes sense in our minds. Like, we all know what a rack is, but somebody off the streets who's not a part of our hobby has no idea what a rack is. My wife, who's not in our hobby, if I were to say a rack, she would think like a towel rack, or like if I go on Google rack, that's shelving. Like, we need to use words that people understand and that are clear pictures for them. So calling them something else, I think, would be wise. Another one of my pet peeves is we keep calling them isopods. So they're the new craze and the cleanup crew and the exotic pet invert pets. We keep calling them isopods. Man, if anytime we can use the term roly poly when we're at a show or with new people, I think that lowers the barrier. It doesn't sound as complicated to keep a roly poly as it does to keep some isopods. And so using the right words to help people feel like they can access our hobby and get involved in it. That'll help us grow our hobby. Number 5, find someone a step below you to offer help. This is really important. So maybe you're at a show or you're talking with somebody who's new to doing what they're doing. It's imperative that we come alongside those people. So a lot of times we're thinking of this mindset of like, well, I don't want new people getting started in our hobby. I don't want other people doing what we're doing. I want more of this pie for myself. And the truth is, the only way we're going to be successful and the easiest path to us all being successful is to grow the pie, is to get bigger. And so bad experiences hurt us all. People leave our hobby when they have a bad experience. So maybe they're buying an animal from somebody at a show, and they're not as successful because that newer person to selling animals didn't support the person like we would have supported the person. Or maybe when it comes to creating content, like their videos aren't very good, or they're not showing the right stuff, or their podcast, it isn't as as quality as it could, and so they kind of drop out, and then people that are they're engaging with them have a bad experience with our hobby, a bad experience with the content that we're creating. We want to find a way to come alongside those people and say, hey, let me help you produce good content. Let me help you be more successful when you're selling to other people, and help your customers to be more successful. When we do that, we grow the pie. People that have bad experiences with people that are a little bit over their skis as far as their business end up hurting us all. We want to keep those people in our hobby. Remember, you can't be everywhere. You can't be in every neighborhood. You can't be at every show. You can't be on every feed on YouTube or every podcast. You can't be everywhere. It's an opportunity for us to reach more people if you can come alongside people that are newer, and come alongside them and help them. Next one, number six, the ways in which we can grow our hobby is find someone a step above you and offer to help them. Bigger companies, it's harder to innovate. It's harder to come up with new ideas. It's harder to be on the cutting edge the larger you are. That's an opportunity for you to look at somebody that's larger than you, somebody that's doing more than what you're doing. Come alongside them and say, hey, I know how to do this new thing, or there's this new product that you should check out. Find ways to help some of those larger companies become more relevant, and make sure that we're not having these issues where larger companies become irrelevant and then no longer a part of our hobby. We want to grow. We want all ships to grow. And the more you do that kind of stuff with the companies that are maybe one step above you, maybe the content creators that are one step above you, when you start providing value, that's where partnerships really grow. And you find opportunities to work together and create an environment where our hobby is growing. Number seven, avoid red oceans, find blue oceans. So there's a book called Red Ocean, Blue Ocean Theory. It's a horrible book. Don't read it. I will tell you what the main point of it is. So red oceans are like, think of like shark infested feeding frenzies. It's just red from all the blood. It's cutthroat. So think of like all the industries where there's 20 companies doing the same exact thing. Everybody's trying to compete to race to the bottom. Maybe you've been at a reptile show and you're like, all of us are doing the same thing. All of us have the exact same animals. It's a race to the bottom. We're trying to sell, we're trying to undercut each other, and we're trying to backstab each other. Avoid those types of situations. Instead, find what the book calls the blue ocean. Find wide open seas where no one else is doing anything, where you can be blazing your own trail, where you're not fighting for survival. A good example of this, there's a person who is part of the Epic thing, called Alex Menke. He's owns a business called Frog Daddy. Him and I are in very, very similar niches. We're both doing a lot of poison dart frog stuff, plants, those kinds of things. Alex has done a fabulous job of creating blue oceans. Like, the guy is coming up with new products, new ways of doing things. He's very innovative, coming up with brand new ways of doing things. And he has been super successful and has grown by leaps and bounds, doing things that are like so innovative and so unique for our hobby. During the pandemic, Alex reached out to me. He called me. He said, Josh, I've got a horrible problem. My heat packs got delayed. I don't have any heat packs for my orders for the next couple of days. I need a case of heat packs. And in a red ocean scenario, I would have looked at that and I would have said, great. Now all your customers who needed their bugs, they're going to come to me because I have heat packs and I can get those. Maybe, a case of heat packs is 120 orders. I can get those 120 orders. But thinking about our hobby in terms of like, how do we grow the pie? How do we make it larger? How do we reach more people? I next day aired him a case of fruit fly, or a case of heat packs, and I said, you're doing great things in our hobby. I want you to be successful. You're growing the pie for both of us. So both of us as companies, instead of competing with each other and backstabbing each other, we've both been able to grow in this environment because we're helping each other out and we're helping each other be successful. So find that. So you have to find your blue ocean. You have to find your what. What can you do that no one else can do? You have to find your where. Where are you doing it where no one else is doing it? And then how. Like, how are you doing it in a different way than anybody else is doing it? Find your blue ocean. Because when you find your blue ocean, you reach new people and you help grow the pie for the rest of us. Number 8, support diversity. I think we have a problem in our hobby. When right now in the United States, 31% of our population are non-Hispanic white males. 31%. So two-thirds of our country are not that. Unfortunately, when we go to a reptile show, we look around, there's a lot of white, non-Hispanic males behind the tables. We got to do something to change that. My daughter came, she's 14 years old. She came with me to one of the shows that I did. It was just a local show, so it was just me and her. And I couldn't get away from the table. And so she was just walking around by herself. And I watched her go past all of these tables, and she found the one vendor that was a female, and she was selling sugar gliders. And that afternoon, my 13-year-old and I, we came home with sugar gliders. And I thought, oh my gosh, like she found the one vendor that looked like her, and she made a connection with that vendor. And that's why we have sugar gliders instead of any of the other animals in the show. She made that connection. I worry about my other daughters. We're doing foster to adopt, so I have two African American daughters, and I worry about them going to these same shows and looking in there and seeing nobody or maybe a couple of people that look like them. I'm nervous about what that means for our hobby. We've got to find ways to support and increase diversity in our hobby because that's a lot of people that we're missing out. I don't want our hobby to get the reputation of being, oh, that's what white non-Hispanic males do is they keep exotic animals. I want us to support the people in our hobby that are reaching new and different demographics of people and finding ways to reach those people so they can engage in our hobbies, so they can experience what we're experiencing. And so we got to support diversity. Number 9, know what you are good at. So this is so key. In an environment where we're trying to grow the hobby, we have to think of ourselves as a team. So find what you do well and stay in that lane and do that and find other people that you can come alongside of and say, hey, this is what I do really good. I create really good content. Like, let me help you create content. Let me partner with you. Hey, I create new products. Let me come alongside you. Let me help you by I'll create the products and you can sell them. Or hey, maybe I'm great at sales. Like I'd love to come in partnership with you and I can help you sell your stuff, whether through affiliates or through some other rate. We got to know ourselves, know what we're good at, and dive deep into that. Don't try to do 100 different things that you're not really good at. For instance, I stink at sales. Like I'm just a horrible salesperson. So my first hire ever, when I was working out of my house, I hired Zach, and he did our shows for us. So he traveled the country, did all of our shows. He's a great salesman, something that I could never do. I'm never really good at that. Another thing is I'm not very detail oriented. I don't like doing tasks like every single day, the same thing. I don't like doing that. I like thinking big and coming up with big ideas. I love encouraging people and coming alongside them and helping them be successful. Those are the things that I like to do. So I stay in my lane and I do those things. And I find other people to come alongside me and do the things that I'm not very good at. And so we've got to do that as a hobby. Know what you're good at and stick in that lane. 10 is support USARK and PAN. So USARK, United States Association of Reptile Keepers, and then PAN, which is the Pet Advocacy Network. They're both on the front edge of the lobbying, figuring out what are the vulnerabilities we have when it comes to certain legislation and our ability to keep these exotic pets as animals. So we got to find ways to support them. Like we all win when those two organizations are successful. So I encourage you, make sure that you're finding ways beyond financial to support them. So whenever they share something on social media, you share it. Whenever they have a video you like and you subscribe and you amplify their messages, find ways to support them. Get involved with all their initiatives, whether that's letter writing. Get involved with them. The more we do that, the bigger the pie is, and the bigger our hobby is going to be. Number 11, support conservation. So we got to find a way to take what we're doing as a hobby and have it impact native populations of the animals that we keep. We have to do that. Whenever you see any legislation that's coming around to like kind of put a damper on our hobby, or maybe take away some of the animals that we keep, you'll always see exceptions for zoos, and you'll see, hey, no one else can keep these animals except for the zoos, and part of that is a financial thing. Like, zoos provide a financial benefit to the community, but I think another big part of it is that zoos do good. They have a reputation for saving the pandas. They have a reputation for investing in conservation. And so we as a hobby, the more we can support conservation, I think the more likely we are to present ourselves in a good light that helps us increase the pie to make a larger hobby. The second thing it does is it helps our customers connect what they are doing to the outside world. It gives them an opportunity to say, hey, I'm thinking about an exotic animal. I'm also thinking about this vacation. I'm also thinking about this larger TV. I'm also thinking about a new couch, and I'm trying to weigh all these opportunities. It gives them an opportunity to say, hey, there's more value in keeping these animals than just the value of enjoying these animals. Like, it's making a difference in the world. And I think the more we can do that, I think the larger our hobby is going to be, and the bigger pieces of pie for all of us. Number 12, the last one is partner with me. We love partners. We partner with people in 5 different ways. So, first is we do wholesale. So, we sell our products to you. You can sell them in your store. You can sell them at your Reptile Expo. It's an opportunity for you to sell stuff. Second thing we do is our drop ship program. So, what we do is, you maybe are producing some animals, or maybe you're producing some products. We manage the customer relationship, and we send you a shipping label, and you send the product or animals to customers. It's an opportunity for you to take some of the what you're creating, what you're building, and get it to as many customers as possible. And so that's an opportunity to partner with us. Third is affiliate. So if you're doing something where you're creating content, or you have a bunch of customers, we're looking for affiliate relationships. A big one for us that's pretty new is giving people stacks of coupons and $100 bill. So we will say, hey, you're selling something that eats crickets. Here's a stack of postcards with a discount code to buy their crickets from us, and here's $100 for handing those out. And if we can get 5% or 10% conversion on those things, I'll hand you another $100 bill on a stack of those. Finding opportunities to do that. Supplier, we are always looking for products. We currently carry about 9,000 products from all different brands, from very large brands like ZooMed and Exoterra and Zilla, to small brands where they might only have 1 or 2 products. We want to find ways to get our customers the products that they need, and so we're always looking for suppliers. And then the last one is advertising. So this is something we've been doing for a long time. Like, if you have a reptile show, or you are creating content, if you're doing something cool, we do what's called inserts in our packages. So you'll print off a bunch of postcards. You'll pay us like 2 cents a postcard, and we'll get those postcards to people that keep exotic animals. So in their cricket order, they'll get a card that talks about your YouTube channel, or with their light bulbs, they'll get a link to the show that you're doing in their area. So opportunities to partner with us. Those are some of those. So all that to say, like, I think we learned some really cool stuff today. Like, I know I did. I have a ton of ideas, but I just want us as a hobby to be focusing on, like, how do we come together, grow our hobby, make the pie bigger, and get to the point where we're like, hey, I reached the goal of what I wanted to do. Like, I was able to take my hobby and turn it into a full-time job, or hey, I was able to build a team of people and do some really cool things, or I was able to do shows all over the world, or I was able to get this many subscribers. We got to find ways to help us all by growing as a hobby. And when we can get to the point where it's not just 3% of households keeping exotic animals, if we can get it to the point where it's 10% of households, like, the pie is so large that I'm not sure we can even fulfill it. But I want to do that with the group of people that are here, and the group of people that aren't here that are part of our hobby. Like, I feel like we have a lot of people that are interested in growing that pie and making the stuff that we do more accessible to people. And I'm really excited about what we're going to build together. So thank you, guys. I think I left with some time left, Craig. But I had a blast. Thank you for asking me to do this. And just want to say thank you to everybody on the Epic team for putting this together. I think these kinds of things are great for our hobby, and I'm really excited about being a part of that to help our hobby grow.